Before beginning today, let each word, thoughts form, remain in the highest heart coherence with the Divine Mother. Let there be no distortion, no heaviness during this broadcast. No hidden presences of ruin, sabotage, and any unknown thing, seen and unseen. To cause a sense of grief, fogginess, and all other distortions that does not mean well. I cast thee out, here and now. The bell has rung. I call attention to the highest in spiritual court. Let this reach who it is meant to. And for who it is not, let it continue to fall on deaf ears. Thank you, Divine Mother. So there have been some things that has came to the forefront, and I feel called to share this in truth and in sovereignty. So I will say, now usually, I know I may look like I laugh a lot during these, okay, we'll be making faces, but I promise you, this is serious, okay? What I see is real. The events that I will be sharing, although it takes place in the spiritual matter first, or in the spiritual first, matter is just the last thing that it crosses into to become physical. And usually, what I see in these visions, right, and whom I see in the spiritual, they do usually pop up in the physical eventually. Okay. They do pop up, right, in real life. So this isn't a dream. It's the spiritual blueprint behind what is happening in the world. If you don't break free, the cycle will repeat. And the next round will be worse. You have to face yourself, forgive yourself, and call your soul back before it's too late. I'm not only here to follow a trope or be in the love and light team. Just solely for balance on the planet. Okay. Y'all hear the bell. It had nothing to do about no trumpet being heard all over the world. Y'all hear the bell. So again, what I'm about to share, just because I make faces and laugh, that don't mean the message is untrue. It's very so real. Okay. already face a whole lot of darkness on this team. Okay. So I'm here to help others be able to break their chains. All right. A lot of things may be intense, so here we go. Let me see. All right. Whoo-wee. The Divine Mother has been calling me into some things. It's been a whole new transition. So I do gotta take my sweet old time. Okay. So today's intermission is on how astral seduction contracts are planted and how to break free. Also, everything I receive is solely through telepathic messages from my higher self or observations and just certain experiences. Okay. So for any goobers out there, save what you have to say on your own shit, okay? Don't come over here. All right. Waking the Dreamer. Introduction. What you just thought was a strange dream may actually have been an astral encounter. One that tried to plant a seed inside. These are not random, okay? They are designed moments, often sent by spirits, programs, or even ancestral hooks that want to keep you in loops of entanglement. How these things enter, how these entities enter, right? Unhealed openings. If there are past wounds, traumas, or even casual curiosities that were never fully resolved, these create doorways that entities can use. So I mentioned a lot about certain doorways, right, that lead straight into the mind and lead you into more corruption. Okay. Even just being curious about whether the opposite sex in a damaging way, wanting to get, frisky with yourself, and you imagining yourself, you touching on yourself and all of this, imagining other people and everything. You are creating cords, okay? And not only that, individual can begin to use some of your energy, but depending on how far you go, it is actually creating a latch onto a bottom doorway. And them entities see you and they like, ooh, we got one. Okay. Digital portals. A single ad, video, or image can act as a psychic hyperlink. For example, you playing Candy Crush or something, and then the ad that pops up is of another little game, and it's of it's a simulation of people starving, simulation and all of this, but it's mostly they put a womb up there and then a child. They either been beaten, starved, and all types of stuff. Okay, these are hyperlinks straight into your doorway when you kind of just, you're thinking nothing of it, right? But it pulls their energy into your field. When you click, linger, or even allow arousal to build, you've engaged. Okay? Curiosity and fantasy. Daydreaming or thinking just a little about someone or something can be enough for an astral cord to form. Next, childhood grooming. Many were introduced to distorted sexual energy as, children, sometimes through media. The most famous movies everyone around you might think is funny, but is opening up, is deeper than just that innuendo thing. It's actually opening up a portal directly to your soul, and now you are being manipulated. Okay. And sometimes or oftentimes through people. Those imprints stay until consciously burned away. And I done had multiple I'll come back to that. So why it keeps happening. Contracts are left open. Each time an encounter happens and you don't consciously cancel it, it becomes a reoccurring cycle. It keeps calling, okay? You back at night. Energy feeds. These entities that was like a hybrinoid between a grasshopper and something else. Grasshoppers don't even fly. Okay. Each time an encounter happens and you don't consciously cancel it, it becomes a reoccurring cycle. Okay. So these entities feed on sexual energy because it's one of the most potent life forces in the body. If they can trigger arousal, they can siphon. Okay. Collective programming. The bastardized society, right? Society normalizes lust loops, music videos, memes, social media trends to keep these portals active on a mass scale. But do you know they are testing on these certain things firsthand and on certain databases before they even push certain words that seem hip, cool, and to people. So they already know the reactions that is going to bring and lowering the energetic field. How? Because the stuff is vibrations and spells on a massive wave. So, signs that it's happening. Sudden intrusive sexual thoughts or images that don't feel like yours. Reoccurring dreams of intimacy with strangers or old partners. Waking up feeling drained or ashamed. Pain, heat, or tingling in sacral or root chakra. Okay, hips, lower back, reproductive organs. Feeling watched or pressured into craving intimacy out of nowhere. Okay. I'm gonna come back to this. So, the astral loops and horny traps. When someone doesn't care and just indulges in dream sex encounters, they're not being free. They are being groomed into a feeding cycle. Okay? Every time they go along with it, they give away a little more sovereignty. The spirit world reads consent very literally. If you don't resist, they treat it as a contract renewal. Over time, their natural life force gets siphoned, leaving them numb, detached, and craving more unnatural stimulation to feel anything at all. Okay? Yeah. Men, it's a problem. Okay. Hence why a lot of men, dudes out here, do become more cruel, more predatory, and more shallow. The soul is being eaten, leaving only appetite and ego behind. Also, when you waste your life force, you die quicker. It is what it is. Hence why the ongoing theme is to subjugate and subdue the womb to keep this thing running. Okay. And I had a lot of men, specifically, like, hell, a coworker just mentioned, oh, I've been, at the time, this was years ago, just mentioned, oh, I've been, something happened with me and a neighbor. Okay, I was little, but I was ashamed, but that's why I walk with a limp now. And it's a lot of them hiding these things out there, and carrying a whole lot of shame and guilt. And instead of facing these certain events, it kind of leads the soul demented and tormented, and they just go on a rampage instead. Now, another one, a lot of these things happen to young or boys starting college, that evil institution there. That's where a lot of the astral sexual encounters start to happen. Because let's say you've been mostly, or whatever the circumstance, and the majority in there see that you're not really just going along with whatever that dumb antics that they're into. Oh yes, you become singled out, and quickly. So someone mentioned this to me, their own personal experience, how they were in their dorm or whatever, and a warden spirit, which is actually a real thing, is something that comes along, and it patrols, and it has certain control of certain environments and spaces, and it can shock you. So this individual was having sexual encounters with an entity directly, where their mouth was stretched open, and then feeling sensations on their backside. So over time they become demented in the mind and aggressive. They don't have nobody to talk about it, so they kind of just do away with themselves. They go into more portals and become just heinous. Okay, I want to beat everybody because they just they've accepted it, truthfully. Okay, so it is true. Entities target the back door, You'd be surprised. It's a group of men hiding along that rectum up in there, and they making plans for you. Men in white lab coats. Y'all think everything just in the mind is up your ass. So, the roots and sacral chakras are the foundation of a person's will and sexual identity. If they get hijacked, it seals the person's power, turning them submissive to astral control. It often creates shame and confusion, which is then weaponized to keep them silent. Okay, they're losing their voices. Many young men who feel this spiritual violation don't know what's happening, so they either overcompensate with aggression or spiral into distorted sexual identities to cope. Okay, it's not about me up here shaming anyone's orientation. It's about you are being programmed, okay, and forced into that foolishness. Okay. Some ignorant fool out there. Ski. Your backside being tore up, young man. Did you know that? Okay. So, but it goes, anybody can leak. Okay. So leakage and loss of integrity. When the sacral center is being harvested, the body often shows physical symptoms. Discharge or leaking from genitals, loss of life force essence, night sweats or waking up sticky, feeling plugged, tightness or phantom sensations in the lower body, mouth and throat constrictions symbolizing silencing. The body itself is literally broadcasting, my temple has been breached. Okay. So many out here, the over sexualization with the youth and all of this stuff, hell, even grannies in bondage, anybody, many pretend to like it, to normalize it, because the alternative is facing the horror of violation. And this is how exactly you get trapped and stay there, because pretending equals false consent. And then what happens? More astral access. These entities don't discriminate, they like them both. It becomes easier to join groups, frat houses, secret clubs, or spiritual orders where everyone is stuck in the same loop, okay? Because at least then it feels less isolating. But boy, do they be doing some nasty stuff. You know, being hit with them paddles and screaming is not going to make a difference. So these organizations then double down on controlling the feminine, controlling women's bodies, trying to dominate womb power because deep down they feel powerless and violated. Okay. So I'm seeing here on a larger architecture of control. These attacks are not random. They are systematic attempts to hijack human sexual energy, which is the fastest way to enslave a soul. The ones who resist, okay, the resistors, okay, are often targeted the most in the beginning in some serious stuff. Okay. But once you break free, you then become dangerous to the system. Why? Because then you can speak truth about these things. But I don't think I ever heard nobody really speak on the real deal astral aspect to how, you know what I'm saying? It was like, let me speak on this. Yeah. Okay. So these are certain mechanics of spiritual slavery. Right. Your decision not to participate, not even secretly, not even for funsies. A lot of y'all spiritually weak. Okay. You have to have a complete grasp of you over your mind. That's the highest protection. Especially, you know, starting out as that adolescence, that child, and not knowing anything is so much easier when you just don't have that guidance. Nobody telling you what this means, what the kind of dreams you having, and you feeling scared and all of that. These things do follow you. So when you build up your personal will, then you can begin to be like, okay, this ain't what I want. It's not what you want. It's not what you want. Okay? It's not what you want. Because I want to say back in, 2023, some time ago, I had a vision. It was a yacht. And it was like mercenaries on there. They are. You know what I'm saying? So clearly it was a couple of them and they was transporting something. Who were they transporting? Woman. Okay. Well, this what happened. It was a scene. Yeah, they do astral trafficking and all this stuff. It's not a metaphor. So what the yacht represented was luxury and seduction. How the system lures people with the promise of money, fame, or escape. So, the bigger the chain, the bigger the bondage, okay? The gold chains are literal signs of bondage, okay? They aren't symbols of success. They're collars of servitude, okay? So, all of them was on this yacht. And then they took the woman to like a secret little club. And then it was this one guy had this gold chain. And then he started whispering. And he said, I want y'all to dance. So some of them, what I call it, is gyrating. Some of them got up on tables and stuff and started, I ain't able to name these things no more. That's what I'm saying. All of this up in your face, they gotta get like this. do the choreography with me, man, and all y'all. It is unnatural. It's unnatural. All of that is unnatural. Okay, but they got on the table and started gyrating. And I'm telling you, the force of dancing and gyrating is how entities and handlers extract sexual energy. Nature not recognizing none of that. Nature is not, I don't care who talking about what culture got preserved. It's unrecognizable to nature. She don't, if anything, she like, stop stumping the yard on top of her. It's not what this is about. Okay. It was some crazy stuff going on. Okay. But yeah. It's how, they're really eating off of that. So from the feminine, and turn it into spectacle, stripping away dignity and turning them into a product. Thank you to my guardians, Azariah. Okay. So, many think it's just music, videos, or just a party, but spiritually, it's a ritual, humiliation, and even harvesting. Okay. I'm just an observer. And permitted to speak on these things so the soul cannot feign ignorance later. But it's certainly not lightweight either. It's not a game. So, cycles of reincarnation. Okay. Every time a person participates in these rituals willingly, or even by ignoring their intuition and continuing, they strengthen a karmic web that ensnares. Not being able to let go of the D and all of that stuff, I'm telling you. Or whatever letter in the alphabet, you're not able to let that go, right? Your P's, your Q's, your T's. You're just holding on. Okay. You will return, okay? What that song singing? Everybody needs to learn something and learn something here today. You're gonna return. Okay. And to experience the same humiliation, violence, and energy drain. Right? Your unhealed children. The billy goats out here, the kids running rampant with that downgraded DNA. Because they've been brought here through just bondage, loss of willpower, and or lust. So those conceived or lost in lust get poured into the same cycle, becoming food for the same spirits. Okay, Marduk, that false thing, right? With the many names that many are still worshiping today. Is one of the principles of this system that everybody in the that cardinal thing, or that thing there, over there, okay, who they worship. Get all their plans by and stuff. They take joy, truthfully, in seeing the womb enslaved, generation after generation. Okay. This is a warning, because next cycle will be even darker if you don't wake up. So, most of the time, people are lured into thinking a lot of things are harmless fun, but the price is very real. Spiritual slavery, sexual harvesting, and loss of sovereignty. Okay. Feasting on children is not taboo to them. Okay. Adrenochrome, all of that stuff. Alright. Astrally, when you stick them in front of the TV, it siphons their little energies. Okay? That's the ultimate goal of these forces, because children are the purest life force. Okay. So, we preparing now, okay? So it's a huge sorting wave already taking place. Okay, more things will be out in the open. Not just in my own personal wave, but the collective. We already aware those that are not ready. They're gonna call everything BS, be agitated, more desperate out here. Okay, and they're gonna be running rampant to get as many others. Hey, you my friend, you supposed to answer my call when I tell you to, and all that. I don't, no. Okay, those are distractions. They will set you up. Okay, the ones that, oh, I knew this already, come on girl, ain't not going. They are fully booked and prepared. They knucking and bucking to go ahead and be resent here again. Seriously. Okay. So if your mind is not on leaving this simulation, you got some work to do. Okay. And they definitely out here, and they grabbing whoever. Next. Again, speaking on this military team, and for ones that keep wanting, our dollars going to, you are lost. They ended taxes in what, 1967? It wasn't even supposed to be like how it is now. You just, where is it going? And just to get, those are distractions. Okay, I don't really even care at this point about no specific date and time, but it's there. It's a distraction. So for those ones who want to be a goober, right, and claim to know so much, but still willfully obey and distract yourselves and be just allowing yourselves to be up for grabs. Remember, just because you choose to be a civilian out here, they are the first to go. You cannot feign like you're innocent while double dialing whatever I said up in that air conditioner and acting like you got it all. Divine spirit cannot use nobody that's not willing to move. Divine spirit cannot connect with no thing that is too comfortable. And dang sure ain't never been through nothing. Okay? So, there goes my my heat for today. Oh, it's gonna be plenty. What I'm about to say next. So this military and programming. I, years ago, have already physically seen certain documentaries and stuff. Okay. How would they have one womb, it don't matter the color either, so still to protect the man or their agendas, you just a dolly. Just rolling you there and there. That's still trying to see this thing come to life. But whatever. There's one lady and it's about 10 bodies. You know, these are it's crazy stuff. Okay. Their rituals are just great. So imagine, you know, you think you're doing something, you just in a loop. And they actually, with their little technology, the moment you take that little test, they scramble your brain, believe it or not. Anywho, isn't it a place in multiple institutions where you have to side-eye if it's a lot of signs up talking about sexual misconduct? But it don't seem like nobody ever speaks on these things. Okay? These are warnings. They definitely gonna hide. Okay? So, this military-industrial complex has long been involved in ritualizing sexuality as a weapon. Drawing symbols, stacking men over one womb. This is literally sacral domination. Magic. Okay? Binding the feminine into subservience to the masculine war machine. This is how they charge their agendas, through collective sexual energy, blood sacrifice, and forced participation. And it makes my skin itch, crawl. Okay. So the orgy thing versus organic, right? They started to market that, didn't they? You know, multiple wives and all of this. These are setups. Okay? What they market as freedom or sexual liberation is not natural at all. Even the whole wife thing is not, it's not natural in nature. Okay? So orgy is not celebration. It is ritualized exploitation. The goal is to confuse pleasure with violation. So the soul stops resisting and begins to self-destruct. Once the people think they are choosing it, the system no longer has to force it. Okay? They become their own captors. I call it the human mad man disease. You know, they messed up the cows first to then create that thing next for the people, in the lab for the people. So, infection of the collective psyche. They release spiritual. I cast out all Google eyes and astral waves being sent. For what remains here is only truth, sovereignty, my highest will, and no discord will remain. I hope. Okay. So, they release spiritual and psychological toxins into society through music, ads, the porn demon, okay, movies, fashion, until everyone is desensitized. What was once shocking becomes entertainment, then becomes aspiration. By the time it's normalized, entire generations are spiritually sterilized, unable to recognize their own enslavement. Okay. So the world constantly signals sexual misconduct, scandals, warnings, but it is not random. These are both revelations and tests to see if people will finally wake up or if they will just gossip, consume, and move on. If people ignore the warnings, they slide deeper into the trap. And their energy becomes easier to harvest. Okay. So no, this thing is not just a human problem, it is a global spiritual war strategy. Every time consent is twisted, every time wombs are desecrated, every time intimacy is commodified, they just want you to pop out another, pop out another. The life force of humanity is drained, okay? Treating the womb no different than the milk. I said than the milk. Yeah, the milkers, the cow. Yeah. I'm just so grateful to pure life, the Divine Mother. I'm telling you, it is crucial. Okay. So, this isn't to fear these things. Once you know what is happening, we stop glamorizing these things and just expose the filth for what it is. Okay. There's definitely a dimensional sorting happening. Okay. So, those who will awaken will do so, and those who will remain in the program will also do so. Okay. Just like that. Just good riddance to thee. Okay. Now I gotta talk about this thing. It's serious. Okay. I done probably said it's serious 5 times. Okay. This whole Charlie thing. The conscious of it is not what they are considering and blasting everywhere did or whatever. In fact, I want to say back in 2024, I saw their appointed leader, which is like a Spaniard or something, whatever. It's something they still trying to get to mix in, okay? Don't let it pass. Okay? I saw this thing. It was on the pulpit, had the finger up. Alright? Their little kingdom is moving. Okay? That is a figurehead archetype meant to shepherd masses into the false kingdom. The reported death or whatever was a distraction or cover operation. Whether physically or not, the spiritual current is still being broadcasted and used, right? So in this vision, I saw like the little Hills Kingdom, and it's not no afterlife thing. It's, well, they preparing for that next recycle, but it's here, that thing. And come on, fly. It was moving. It was moving. Like, it's, instead of wheels, it's the little under the thing that you see to a tank or something is moving. And now these are just my own personal visions, right? I ain't saying nothing. Okay? I wasn't there. Okay? So, the little things was moving. And then I'm seeing a whole bunch of suits and ties. Even people that's claiming, oh, I just a civilian, I innocent, and all of that foolishness. Okay? Everybody was standing up, and the little crosses all came on their third eyes. Okay. The eyes turned all pitch black. It was many, even kids out there. It was many. All rooting for this thing. Okay. And repeat myself, it was many. Y'all keep holding hands and keep thinking they got your best interest. There is no best interest. They are preparing for their stock. Okay? So I'm just bringing it out to the open. Okay. So the cross is on the foreheads. There's your mark of the beast. Your wands. That's what scripture calls a marking. But this is not the righteous seal. It's the mark of compliance. Okay? You stay silent to it, you are agreeing to it. Okay? The ones who refuse to awaken, who remain complacent, automatically receive this mark. You keep going to these institutions and stuff. Okay? They may think you being neutral, but neutrality in this hour becomes silent participation, being used as energy nodes in the grid of control. So what I was shown, it's no middle ground now. You either, land, food, skills, really holding on to the earth for her to recognize you. Okay? I know the gurus out there with the manifestation stuff, but when you ain't face yourself and you still spiritually bypassing, you just have to see about that. Okay? But it's either that or you be absorbed with this thing. Okay? It's like a class action 0. And it's heavy. It suggests a reset attempt by the opposing forces. It implies they are mobilizing as a group to enforce their agenda. The 0 suggests erasure, wiping clean individuality, sovereignty, memory, okay, turning people into blank pawns, right? And they already mentioned too. They probably slide it in the little meditation tapes, like, yeah, we didn't practice on such and such. We got them in a room. It's different ways now, but they already know how to put a false thing up into somebody's body or something, or have them in a space to where they blink out and now they forgot what they done, quote unquote. All right, these are individuals who they already tested that psychosis on. So when they snap their fingers, they say the little trigger word, and then boom, they go messing in schools. They self-destructing. These are all. Who mentioned this? And this just was for meditation, and they slyly put it in there. Yeah, we gave him a toy gun, put it in the backpack just to see what he do. That's not. Okay. So, this global ritual resets, preparing to harvest as many as possible in one sweep. Okay. They moving. Okay. It's nothing still fair. But the chaos grids are being charged. Okay. So let's go ahead. Leave you with how to break free, right? 1. Cancel the contract. You may speak aloud. I revoke and burn all contracts with any spirit, entity, or energy attempting to siphon me through dreams or seduction. You have no claim to me. Okay. This is for the dream states. Okay. The bedwetters. We're gonna break free. I be hearing it too, like some of the women when they go to sleep, they like giggling, kiki. Yeah, be going crazy in them things. But y'all is loopholes playing with you, and they taking you further away. Okay. 2. You can purify the body. Salt baths, fasting, sacred teas, not your tummy tuck teas, but what I like to make is that fire. Sea salt, some cinnamon, clears lingering energy. Okay. lot of that stuff is fake, but the cinnamon is good. The sea salt. Guard your gates. Watch what you watch. Every ad, meme, or video you consume is either strengthening your field or weakening it. Choose consciously. You can call on well, to me it's only one. It's the Divine Mother. Right? Earth is a womb. Okay? She's alive. Okay? You keep calling on the same ones that siphons your energy, they're going to tear you up more in the astral. Go ahead and test it out. Okay? But keep these things at bay. Just ask that no dream contact happens without and no interference before going to bed. Call on mama. And stay consistent. This isn't one and done. You may need to cancel contracts nightly until the loop stops. And then when you think it's stopped, you still need to remain vigilant. Okay? Show responsibility of staying guarded. Even after you break free, you must remain watchful. Okay? Everything is a spirit on this planet. Okay? These energies often try to sneak back in through something small. A song lyric, a TikTok clip, an ad that flashes while you scroll. Don't think it's harmless. It's a replanting of the same seed you just burned. This is why spiritual vigilance is not paranoia. It's not. If you're already thinking, dang, what can we do? Just go ahead and go on. And just accept it all. And it's seriously people will be talking like this. They work for the FEMA camps and all that. I accept it all. I don't see a problem. And their hearts is harder than a root in like on a what, okay? Anyways. Spiritual vigilance. It is freedom maintenance. Okay? Okay. So, I will close it with this. I now reclaim all of my sexual energy, my breath, and my dreams. I shut every doorway that has ever been opened without my conscious permission. My temple is holy. My bed is holy. My dreams are holy. I walk in truth, right? I walk in truth with the divine. So it is. Okay. And depending on how much, the more realer you are, and the more they attempted to subdue you, it takes a lot of soul retrieval. Now, of course, they're not worried about the ones that is a sheep. Okay? They're not worried about y'all. You're doing everything that you're supposed to for them. Okay? No joke. But when you deep in that thing, you really have to recover your body from them wicked genealogist things. They be wanting to discover who's in these little, whose body was in this little casket and all that. Real wicked. And you find yourself actually in a whole glass box deep in that little deep slumber web thing. It's something serious. You know? Let's see here. Okay. But remember this. You can handle this. Ooh, you people, ooh. If you're hearing me. Your soul already chose to wake up. Okay? You don't gotta keep going. This is what I used to do. Me? Talking, you pointing at me? Seriously. You, okay? You chose to wake up. Alright? You already asking the right questions. You already filtering your little water. You all okay? You taking the steps. What the heck was that? They was trying to create like a vortex thing in front of me. I'm gonna cancel that out. Okay? So you chose to wake up. And that means you are strong enough to face this and act, right? Let me give you one simple thing. Tonight, before you rest, just simply say, I revoke every dream contract. I revoke every dream contract and close every gate that does not belong to the Divine Mother. Okay? Also, you can build up your courage, okay? This is not about fear. This is about freedom. Ye are not powerless. You can reclaim your dreams, your body, and your destiny. Reclaim it. Okay. All right. Last transmission was pretty heavy. Rada, rada. Rada, rada, rada. Rada, rada, rada. Rada, rada, rada. 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 Rada, rada. Rada. And rada, rada. Rada, rada. 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 Rada, rada, rada. Rada. Rada, rada. Rada, 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 rada. Rada, rada. And rada, rada, rada. Rada. Rada, 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 rada. Rada, rada, rada. And rada. Rada, rada, rada. Rada. Rada, rada, rada. Rada, rada, rada. Rada, rada. Rada. Rada, rada. Rada, rada, rada. Rada, rada. Rada, rada. Rada, rada. Rada. Rada.